Nearly 500 years ago, a young man walked through the halls of a University of Paris carrying dreams much bigger than his books. His name was Francis Xavier, brilliant, one of the finest scholars of his generation. He dreamed of academic success, influence, recognition. His future looked secure. If anyone had asked, "What do you want out of life?" Francis would probably have answered, "Success." Then he met a former soldier named Ignatius of Loyola. Ignatius never argued with him. He never forced him. Instead, every time they met, he quietly repeated one sentence, the very words of Jesus. "Francis, what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul?" Francis grew tired of hearing it. He laughed. He ignored it. He changed the conversation. But some questions refuse to disappear. They follow you home. They wait beside your bed. They whisper into your silence. Years later, Francis would admit that this single question slowly conquered his heart. He gave up the career everyone admired and crossed oceans to preach Christ in India, Southeast Asia, and Japan. He died alone on a small island, still dreaming of bringing the gospel to China. History remembers him not as a famous professor, but as one of the greatest missionaries the Church has ever known. One question changed his destiny. Today, Jesus asks that same question of us. What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world but forfeits his soul? My dear brothers and sisters, Jesus asks the most important financial question ever asked. Notice his language: profit, gain, loss, exchange. He sounds almost like an accountant examining a balance sheet, because he knows we spend our lives calculating what is valuable. We know the price of gold. We know the value of land. We know our salary. We know the balance in our bank account. But somewhere along the journey, we stop asking the only question that finally matters: what is my soul worth? The world asks, how much did you earn? Jesus asks, what did it cost you? Those are not the same question. Many people become successful while quietly becoming empty. Many build larger houses while their families grow farther apart. Many gain thousands of followers online while drifting farther from the one they were meant to follow. Many spend years building an impressive resume but never build a holy heart. Jesus says, be careful. Not everything that looks like profit is truly profit. Sometimes the greatest gain becomes the greatest loss. To understand why Jesus says this, we must look at Peter. Only moments before today's gospel, Peter makes the greatest confession in the New Testament. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus praises him, calls him blessed, builds his church upon that confession. Everything seems perfect. Then Jesus begins speaking about Jerusalem, about suffering, about rejection, about the cross. Peter cannot bear it. He pulls Jesus aside and says, "No, Lord. This must never happen to you." Peter's mistake was not that he stopped believing in Jesus. His mistake was far more dangerous. He believed in Jesus, but only the Jesus he preferred. A Messiah with miracles, but without wounds. A Messiah with glory, but without Golgotha. A Messiah with a crown, but without a cross. Before we judge Peter, perhaps we should ask ourselves, don't we do the same? We love Jesus until forgiveness becomes difficult. We trust Jesus until suffering enters our home. We follow Jesus until honesty costs us a promotion. We believe in him as long as he walks the road we planned. Peter wanted to follow Christ without following him to Calvary. That is why Jesus immediately turns to the disciples and says, "If anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me." Notice those first words, if anyone wishes. Love never forces. Love always invites. God does not drag anyone into holiness. He opens the door and waits for us to walk through it. Then comes the hardest sentence in the gospel, deny yourself. That sounds strange today. Our culture tells us, believe in yourself. Promote yourself. Protect yourself. Put yourself first. Jesus says, deny yourself. Does he mean we should hate ourselves? No. Jesus never asks us to despise ourselves. He asks us to surrender ourselves. Self-denial is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. It is moving from, my will be done, to, your will be done. It is allowing Christ to occupy the throne where our ego once sat. Then Jesus says, take up your cross. Remember, when Jesus first spoke these words, nobody wore crosses around their neck. The cross was not jewelry or decoration. It was Rome's instrument of execution. When someone carried a cross, everyone knew where that journey ended. Jesus is saying, if you follow me, be prepared to let selfishness die. Your cross may not be dramatic. Perhaps it is forgiving someone who never apologized. Remaining faithful in a difficult marriage. Caring for aging parents. Living honestly when dishonesty is rewarded. Standing for truth when silence would be easier. Every disciple has a cross. No disciple walks behind Jesus without one. Then Jesus gives us one of the greatest paradoxes ever spoken. Whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. How can losing become finding? How can dying become living? Think of a seed. A seed sitting safely on a shelf remains perfect, dry, untouched, safe. But it will never become a tree. The only way a seed fulfills its purpose is by disappearing into the earth. From above, it looks like death. From beneath, life has already begun. Perhaps that is why Jesus speaks this paradox. The life we cling to is often the life we lose. The life we surrender to Christ is the life he transforms. Then Jesus asks the question that has echoed through every century. What profit is there if someone gains the whole world but loses his soul? Imagine owning every company, every palace, every bank, every luxury car, every ounce of gold on earth. Then imagine standing before God with an empty soul. Jesus says that is the worst investment anyone could ever make, because there is no exchange for the soul. No refund. No replacement. No second purchase. Finally, Jesus lifts our eyes beyond this passing world. The Son of Man will come in the glory of his Father with his angels. History is moving toward a meeting. Every hidden sacrifice, every unnoticed kindness, every act of forgiveness, every cross carried with love, he has seen them all. The world forgets. Christ never does. One day he will return, not as the suffering servant, but as the glorious King. And on that day, the question will not be, how much money did you make? Nor, how famous were you? Nor, how many people applauded you? The question will be, did you follow me? Saint Francis Xavier answered that question with his life. He exchanged comfort for mission, security for sacrifice, recognition for obedience. The world thought he had lost everything. Jesus knew he had found everything. My dear brothers and sisters, when you leave this church today, don't ask, did I enjoy today's homily? Ask yourself the question that changed Francis Xavier forever. What am I gaining that is quietly costing me my soul? Perhaps it is success at the expense of your family. Perhaps it is comfort at the expense of prayer. Perhaps it is money at the expense of generosity. Perhaps it is reputation at the expense of truth. Whatever it is, Jesus does not ask you to admire the cross. He asks you to carry it. He does not ask you merely to believe in him. He asks you to follow him. Because one day, someone else will live in your house. Someone else will spend your money. Someone else will wear your clothes. But no one else can stand before God with your soul. So choose wisely. Deny yourself. Take up your cross. Follow Christ. And when your earthly journey is over, may the only words that finally matter be these. Well done, good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of your master. Amen.